waiting. Good morning.
Good morning.
For those that don't know me, my name is Tere Haring, and I am the director of the Allied Women's Center. The Allied Women's Center is a Pearson Institute center, and we're very aggressive about saving babies. We really seek the woman who's been having an abortion. We go out of our way to reach the woman who already chose an abortion, to be able to talk her out of an abortion. Pearson centers are very successful. They saved about 98% of their babies. Most of them have been doing it without even an ultrasound. Nowadays, because of the ultrasound technology, it does come handy, and Life Choice helps us with ultrasounds, as well as Dr. Pilkington with our own machine. It's amazing what transformation happens to the woman when you offer her the help that she needs. Diapers, baby clothes, car seats. That is what's going to save the babies, the time, the holding the hand. My own life story, I have a young man standing back there, Peter. His mother came to our life in desperate need of help. She really thought that she had no choice, because the moment that child was born, Child Protective Services was going to take the child. And I told her, you do have a choice. You can pick who takes your baby, and you can decide a future for your baby. And just tell Child Protective Services you have an adoption plan, and problem solved. And I have a young man now, 16 years old, and he's a reminder every day of what can be done when you offer women good alternatives. What women need is not the right to kill their babies, but the right of health care, the right of medical help, the help with baby items. That's what women really need. You know, all this tax money that goes to help Planned Parenthood should go to our crisis pregnancy center, because that's the real help women need. I apologize because I'm going to have to run. But Karen is very familiar with the Allied Women's Center. She will answer all your questions. She has not one, but two stories to tell you about Allied. And she'll tell you the rewards of working at a crisis pregnancy center. And the reason I'm leaving is because there's a young man who is about 19 years old, whose mother came to Allied Women's Center seeking an abortion over 19 years ago. We talked the woman out of the abortion. That woman, I took her home with me, she lived with me, she had her child. Over the year, she's come, she's talked, we have kept in touch. Today, that young man is graduating from high school, and I'm walking him across the stage because he's my baby. So thank you. Karen?
And I'm a volunteer of the Allied Women's Center. And I'm going to tell you my story. About 3 years and a half ago, me and my husband battled with fertility issues for 8 years. To stick with our beliefs, we decided to not do any fertility treatments that went out of our beliefs. We found ourselves with no options. We couldn't afford adoption. It was out of our monetary reach. We were desperate. We had no hope. My husband joined the Knights of Columbus, and we got to a point that we gave it to God. One day, one Sunday, he invited me to go to a rally in downtown San Antonio. In the rally, we were listening to different speakers, and these two little girls, safe babies from the other women's center, were talking about how they thank their mother for the great gifts and how they appreciate her and how she being placed for adoption, changed her life, and she was thankful that her biological mother had made that choice. At that moment, me and my husband looked at each other, and it was like a light from heaven, light our heads, and say, "This is it." Well, I was paying attention, and I looked back to look at my husband and say something. He was gone. And I thought, where is he? And I looked, he was talking to Tere Haring. He approached her asking if there would be any chance for us, if she would give us an opportunity. She said yes. We met with her, and she told us about what the alley was. Well, she said it could be 2 years, 2 days, that we need to pray and pray a lot for the baby. At that time, I asked her if she needed volunteers, and she said yes. So I started volunteering at the alley. Being there, it was almost like a veil pulled out of my face, because I was so the reality. It was not only a few women, it was a lot of women seeking abortions. They felt hopeless. They felt that there was no other options. Like 3 months, 4 months of me volunteer there, we met my daughter's biological mom. She considered having an abortion. She already had 4 abortions prior. So, but Miss Tere Haring was able to counsel her and talk her out of it. She met us, and she agreed that she would place the baby with us. 9 months after I started volunteering, we adopted our little girl Mia. It was a big, great miracle. It was something that we expected like this, and we got 1,000 more from God. To this day, we're still volunteering, we still do everything we can. And now, every time I see my little girl, I have to do something. Because if some people wouldn't be doing anything, my little girl would have been killed. My little girl would not be here. People know my story, a lot of people, co-workers. About 2 months ago, I was approached for my co-worker. She asked me that if I can take her sister to the Allied Women's Center, because she was considering placing her baby for adoption. And I said, sure, I'll take her. And I said, but know that I will take the baby happily. And she's like, oh, thank you, that's what I was told to say. And she's like, so we met, and we talked, and she felt comfortable with us. She's already 7 months pregnant up to this point. I told her, let me take you to the Allied Women's Center, because they can help you with everything you need. And when we were driving to the Allied Women's Center, she told me that she was going to have an abortion. That she went to this place where they showed her videos, and they talked to her. And I asked her, what was this place you went? What's the name? She said, A Choice for Women. And I'm like, oh, let me tell you something. I volunteer there. And what they do is they save babies from abortion. She's like, really? She was like, well, this is what's meant to be for God. Well, finding out, they looked for her records, and she was there at the back of the day. I volunteer at Marshall with Tere Haring. So, here again, God puts everything together. So she agreed to place the baby with us. And we're still praying for her. We're still living in God's hands, whatever is His will. For me here, I would like to testify for what the Allied Women's Center do. For the example, me as a young woman, I'm learning from you. I'm getting courage. I'm learning to say what I need to say. I see the example within Tere and all the volunteers there. We need to speak up.
Yes.
You're going to hear, oh, but you might offend somebody. What about those lives? They don't have no voice. And we need to educate ourselves as a Catholics because it is part of our religion. It is part of the Catholic Church teachings. And most important, we need to educate our youth. They need to be prepared to go out there in that world that tells them the opposite. And that's my story, basically. And I appreciate you listening to me and letting me share with you. God bless you.
Hi, I'm Tere Haring, and I'm the Executive Director of Life Choices Medical Clinic. And we are a medical pregnancy center. We're located over by the Ingram Park Mall. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what a pregnancy care center does. We have been in operations for 18 years, and we started out as a small pregnancy center offering pre-pregnancy tests and material assistance to girls in need. But Donna, who is my clinic director, was instrumental in getting our center started. She is a post-abortive woman who received her healing and knew that there were women out there that are hurting because they've had abortions in the past. So in order to change the future, we have to help women now to learn not to make bad mistakes. So Agape Pregnancy Help Center was started in 1996. We opened our doors in 1998. And we did a great job for all 13 years of telling people that Jesus loves them and helping women make good choices. And it was awesome. And about 5 years ago, the Lord opened the doors for us to become a medical center. Focus on the Family contacted us and wanted to help us go through the conversion process to become a medical facility, and it was a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be a pregnancy center that offered ultrasounds, and that's not what happened. We actually had to become a medical center, and it was a huge undertaking. But our Knights of Columbus stepped up from Council 786, Holy Spirit Church, and bought our first ultrasound machine. And it was a match made in heaven. We fell in love with them, they fell in love with us. I must tell you, we are not a Catholic center. We're a non-denominational, faith-based center. We do not identify with any particular church. We are an independent pregnancy center. And so when the Catholics came on board to help us, it was amazing. As a Protestant, we have a long ways to go to catch up with the Catholics in the pro-life work. Let me just say that right off the bat. And so we are working very, very closely. We work very closely with Allied. We help them with their ultrasounds when they need us. We work with Any Woman Can, helping them with their STI treatments. We work with all of the other pro-life organizations in town because we have learned over the years that if we work together, we can get a whole lot more done. We can't do it all. You can't do it all. You can't do it all. But together, we can do a lot. We can make great strides in this fight against abortion. I'm going to give you a little bit of history. The first pregnancy center was opened in 1967 in Hawaii. That was before Roe v. Wade was ever, abortion was ever legal. But a need was brought to the attention of Mr. Pearson that women needed help. And so he started the first pregnancy center there in Hawaii, and it sort of spread from there. We've seen over the years how we have a problem with education in our country between our schools and our parents and our media and our friends, we're not getting the truth about life. And as Christians, we've done a really good job of staying really quiet because we didn't want to offend someone. We would pray about it. We would, not talk openly about it. And so this epidemic of hurt has blossomed in our nation to where we have now murdered about 58,000 Americans. If you take God and religion out of the equation, 58 million Americans out of the workforce, not paying into Social Security and Medicaid, and really not paying their taxes. Why is our country in the mess that it's in? Economically, because we've allowed this to happen. Each one of us will have to stand before God one day, and we will have to give an account for our life. We will have to give an account for what we did. I want to stand before him and hear him say, well done. Don't you? Yes. So it's time for us to not be silent anymore. So what we've done at our clinic is we've expanded our services because we know that Planned Parenthood and other abortion companies are talking about women, giving them good health care, watching over them, making sure their rights are protected. Anybody familiar with any of this rhetoric? Right? Okay. What are they really doing there? They are causing death and destruction. They don't really care about women. They care about money in the bank. That's all they care about. So at our clinic, what we've done is we have taken the vision that God has given us, and we've expanded our services so that we can offer more healthcare services to women and men that need them. We've opened an STI clinic to where we have men and women that will come in and be tested and treated for STIs, because in Bexar County, we have epidemic levels of syphilis and gonorrhea and a bunch of stuff that we don't want to talk about today. But so they can come to us and we will treat them. We will take care of them. We do the free pregnancy testing. We do the free ultrasounds. Our Knights of Columbus bought us a second ultrasound machine this last year. So now we can do twice as many ultrasounds as we could do before. We started a fatherhood initiative class last year because we know that dads are super important in our society. And unfortunately, we have this disposable mentality. Everything is disposable now. Moms carry the babies, so they're more attached. Dads, you can change them out, right? You don't like that, Dad, get a new one. I don't think that's the way God intended for this whole thing to roll at all. He made Adam and he made Eve, and he married them in the garden, and he told them to be fruitful and multiply, right? He didn't say, when you get tired of Eve, go someplace else. He didn't say that. He married them for life. Well, our dads need to understand that they're super important in the development of that child. Statistics show that children who have fathers who are engaged fare much better in society than children who are born into a family with no dad involvement. Okay? About 85% of our inmates in our prison system did not have a father in their life. And that's what they talk about over and over and over again. If I'd only had a dad, if I'd only had a father who was engaged. Do you know that most of our women that come in for crisis pregnancy services don't have a dad in their life? And they are seeking approval and acceptance. Like Rebecca said, they need to know they're valued. They need to know that they're loved. They need to know that their life matters for something. Unfortunately, they're finding that acceptance in all the wrong places. So then we want to help them find acceptance in the right place, right? Education is key here. So we can educate our women to know that it's okay to say no to sex. They don't have to have sex if they don't want to. It's perfectly fine. You can wait till marriage. You can do it God's way. We want to educate them to know that. We want them to know that there's a safe harbor for them. We want them to know that there's help for them out there. When we ask the question, what's the number one reason you would want to abort this baby? They tell us time and time again, I can't afford it. What if money was no object? What if there was a system in place to help you afford your child? What if there were options available for you? That would make a difference. It would make a huge difference. 64% of women who abort their babies, 64% say that they felt pressured by family members or the FOB, as we call them, the father of the baby. Those fathers. To abort their children. They feel pressured, 64% of them. What if our dads learned how vital they were? What if they felt needed? What if they stepped up and they told that mother, I'm going to be here, I'm going to support you, I'm going to be engaged? I'm going to tell you a couple stories. Last year when we started our Fatherhood Initiative classes, we had Brandon and Sandra. Brandon and Sandra were 17 years old. They came in for a pregnancy test. Brandon does not have a dad. And Sandra's family's not much better. And when their test was positive, they went home and told their family, and their families, both families said, you're not having this baby, you're aborting. There's no way. You're too young, you're living your life, look at us, it's a mess, you can't do it, you're ignorant. And they came back for the ultrasound. When Brandon saw his little baby on the ultrasound, his heart changed. And he and Sandra made up their mind that they were going to parent this child. Brandon immediately signed up for our fatherhood class. He came faithfully. Now this is a huge commitment. It's a 13-week course, 2 hours a week. It's gigantic. 4 sessions into the classes, he decided to make a commitment to serve Christ. He invited Christ in his heart. He finished his class. He went through all 13 weeks and graduated. He and Sandra got married. Matt, his teacher and mentor for his class, they bonded very, very well. And when Sandra went into labor, Brandon called Matt. Brandon doesn't have a dad, but he has Matt. And he hemmed-hawed around, and Matt finally said, did you want me to come to the hospital? And Brandon said, yes, would you mind? So Matt went down to the hospital and labored with them all night long. In the morning, when Sandra gave birth to Skyland, Matt got the first pictures. And I have the first picture of Brandon holding his little daughter. Brandon finished high school, and I have a copy of his diploma. Brandon managed to get a car, and he was working at McDonald's to try to put food on the table for his family. Top Golf. Anybody know where Top Golf is?
Yeah.
It's the new place on 10 and 1604. Well, Matt goes to Cornerstone Church, and the gentleman that owns Top Golf also goes to Cornerstone Church. And we're trying to get our churches to step up to do fatherhood classes for their congregations so that the young men in our churches will learn how to be dads. Because let's face it, none of us know how to be parents. Babies don't come with instructions, right? And we'd like for our business owners who are in the churches to offer up training or job assistance to our daddies that graduate their classes. So the men from Top Golf heard about our fatherhood program and decided that he wanted to be involved. So he called Matt and told Matt that if Brandon would come down for an interview, he would hire Brandon. Brandon went down for the interview. Brandon is now working for Top Golf at tons more money than he was ever making at McDonald's. Brandon's going back to school to become a nurse. That's what we're doing in our center. We have a motto that we we empower women with real options, but the truth is we empower families. Our goal is to see a mom and a dad raising their children in a Christian home, living their life, supporting themselves, because I'm a big believer that nobody should be on government assistance, supporting themselves, paying their taxes, and living a life that God has called them to be. Because I know your heart is like my heart. We want San Antonio to thrive, do we not? Do we not want a strong community? Do we not want a city that is righteous? Do we not want a city that is flourishing? How can a city flourish when we're killing 7,400 of our citizens every single year? Explain that one to me. We can't flourish that way. So our commitment to our patients is that we will stand with them until they are able to stand on their own. If that's 1 year, if it's 2 years, if it's 3 years, we'll stand with them. If they need something that we don't supply, because we cannot be all things to all people, correct? We will find a resource for them, like finding them a job at Topgolf, finding them transportation, finding them childcare, getting them a high school education or a GED. But it starts with getting them in the door. If we don't get them in the door, how do we get them the things that they need? We've done a really good job of growing our clinic, and I can only tell you that it's because of God's grace, because we don't really do any advertising. We have an online presence, and that's about it. But God has brought in the girls that are seeking abortions. Like Ally, we see about 80% of our patients are looking or considering having an abortion. We have a very high success rate of them choosing life afterwards. If we can get them to come back for their ultrasound appointment, that's when they'll choose. Because they've been told that it's not a baby until it's born. It doesn't have life. It's just in there growing, and it's just a glob, and it doesn't have nothing. Really? You see on our table out there, we have little babies. They're 12 weeks old, fully formed. All they need is time. When moms and dads see that they have a baby, it's powerful. It's powerful for them. And it helps them to choose wisely. I am of the opinion that our young people today are extremely bright, that they have been told lies. They have not been told truth. They think that to be free, they need to exercise their rights. When really and truly what we're doing is we're putting them in bondage. We are freeing our patients. We are giving them options. We are giving them choices. I was going to start off by saying I want to declare right here that we are pro-choice. Now that shocks some of you, I'm sure. But we are totally pro-choice. We believe that you have a choice to have sex or not to have sex. We believe that you have the choice to go to school or not go to school. We believe that you have the choice to parent. We believe that you have a choice to make an adoption program. We believe that you have choices. The other people are not pro-choice, they're pro-death. We are not pro-death. We are pro-life. We are pro-choice. And every one of you are the same, if you will think about it. We want our community to have choices, but they need to be healthy choices. They need to be good choices. They need to know that there are options and systems available to them. In our town, there is more help available than anyone can possibly imagine. Our resource book grows almost daily because we're running across other ministries in town, other groups in town that want to help. The food bank, they're not necessarily a Christian organization, right? But they're there to help. People don't know that. We have so many different, there is a new program that the city is running They're modeling it after a program in New York where they're setting up classes in libraries, strategically placed in the centers, in the city where there's, poverty. They will take people to come in, sign up for classes, they will teach them computer skills, and they will pay them 6 months for their rent and their food and their utilities. They will pay them to come to class to learn how to be a computer technician. Did any of you know that?
No.
I knew. You know why? Because it's new. It's not out there. They're just breaking ground on it within the last few months. But New York has been doing this. They've been very successful at getting their people who are unemployed jobs. If we have the resources and we can tell our patients where they can go to get help, that will help them to make better choices. Do we save every baby? No. And in our clinic, when we don't save a baby, it's personal. It's personal. Our nurses cry. You know when we've had a really good day because our nurses are like bouncing all over the creation out there. They're like singing and I know when things have not gone well, it gets really quiet. It gets really, really quiet. We have more bouncy days than we do quiet days. Let me just say that. We get our women to come back for material assistance. They can come in for nutrition classes, for breastfeeding classes. We're expanding those classes. And one thing that we're doing, we are getting ready to open up a whole new realm to this whole thing. We're going to start offering well woman exams in our clinic. I can't tell you how many times a day I get a phone call that says, do you guys do annual exams in your clinic? No. Why don't we do that? Do we not want women to be healthy? Do we not care about our female population? Of course we do. We're in business to look after them. All right, so if they came to us for their PAPs and their pelvics and their breast exams, and we got them before they got pregnant, do you think we would have a good chance of keeping them from getting pregnant in the first place? Yes, we would. So could we lower our unintended pregnancies? Yes, we could. I am of a mind that if we do not legislate Planned Parenthood out of business, we will work them out of business. I will take all of their patients away from them. They will have to close their doors. Right down the block from our clinic is 5.5 acres that we're purchasing. And we are going to be breaking ground relatively soon on a 12,000 square foot medical facility. Where we will be offering all kinds of medical services in there. From well woman exams, PAPs and pelvic, to limited prenatal care, to we'll have an in-house laboratory so that we can run all of our own tests and help the other clinics in town to run tests that they can afford, because that's the big thing. When you're nonprofit, there's no money, and you're dealing with labs, and it's expensive. And that prohibits pro-life nonprofit organizations from expanding their services because there's no money for it. We don't charge our patients. So what do? Well, we're going to help. We're going to put our own laboratory in there. We're going to run our own tests, and we're going to offer those services to the other centers in town. We're serious about getting this job done. My generation was silent. Her generation is not. Their generation is not. This generation will end abortion, and I am going to go down fighting to help them do it. Find out what you can do to get involved. If you're not involved with a pregnancy center, find a pregnancy center close to you. There's one out in Stone Oak. There's one over in the medical center. They're in 2 locations. We're over by the Ingram Park Mall. Find out what you can do to get involved. If you don't have time to volunteer, I'll tell you what our center needs, and if my center needs it, their centers need it too. We need churches to step up and hold diaper drives for us, because we've promised these girls that we will give them material assistance. How can I do that? I can't afford to buy diapers. I'm a nonprofit. Look up nonprofit in the dictionary. My face is there. Okay? I am the epitome of nonprofit. less than poverty wages. I can't afford to do that. But the churches could. What would it cost you if once a year you picked up one package of diapers and your church for the month of June or August or September held a diaper drive for a center in town? If everybody in your congregation bought a package of diapers and wipes and you delivered it 1 month a year to your local pregnancy center, that would make a huge difference. Make a huge difference. We take care of our parents in diapers until their babies are out of diapers. So, size 5, size 6, okay? We're there for them. Baby clothes. We work with the Gabriel Project because I don't have strollers and high chairs, but Gabriel Project does. So when I have a mom that needs something, I send her to the Gabriel Project, and they help her. So we work that way. Being pro-life means being active, making good choices, making sure that you have our cards, making sure that when you go out and you meet someone, you're passing out cards. Talk to them about the centers that are in town where they can go and get real help. We promise we will not give them bad information. We will not browbeat them. We will not judge them. We will not shake our finger at them. Because is their sin any worse than mine? I don't think so. God sees sin as sin is sin, right? A little lie is just as bad as murder in God's eyes. So that's not our job, but our job is to give them information correctly, in love, and not to beat them, because that's not going to change them. And if we never change the abortion laws in this country, it's fine. We have to change the hearts and the minds of the people, and then the abortion laws become irrelevant. We have to have our people know there's a safe haven for them to go to. If it's my clinic, if it's any woman can, if it's Ally, if it's Choice for Women, it doesn't matter. They need to know there's a place where they can go and they can be treated with respect and dignity. They're going to get quality care. Someone is going to look after them. Someone is going to walk beside them. Someone is going to help them get the services that they need. And I think my time is just about up, and I could probably talk all day. But anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What size diapers? Newborn or?
Newborn, not so much. We, in my clinic, we are always running out of 4s and 5s. 4s and 5s. We go through those like crazy. They're in newborn diapers for like 15 minutes, and then they don't wear newborns anymore. And so one package of newborns, we give our babies, our moms, when the mom is 8 months pregnant and we know whether she's having a girl or a boy, we supply them with a layette, and it's a huge layette. And they'll get a package of diapers, and that's about all that they need for that. But 4s and 5s, 2s, we run out of 2s a lot. 3s, we seem to have had like 16 years worth of 3s that showed up. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Everybody brought us 3s for like 2 years, and so I've got like 2 rooms full of 3s. But in our clinic, 2s, 4s, and 5s are very helpful. Clothing, up to 6 months. What about maternity clothing? We personally don't offer maternity clothing anymore. We used to. We used to have a store, and the maternity clothes sat there. They never left the building. So we don't offer them anymore, but there are plenty of other resources where they can go for that, and we can help our patients with that.
Do you hear any rumblings about the Planned Parenthood or anything like that about silencing the non-healthcare women's centers? You know,
Absolutely. And I don't know if any of you know, but California this week passed a law that pregnancy centers have to offer abortion as an alternative. California, they did it. They passed it. One of the things that we're going to be doing, and I think that this is important, I do not think that we should ask the abortion industry to do something that we are not prepared to do ourselves. Okay? We've put some restrictions on them with the laws that we've passed. Make sure that if they're going to do surgical abortions, they have to follow certain procedures, they have to have certain health codes, blah, blah, blah. We at our clinic are looking at becoming accredited by the AAAHC. I think it's very important that we look at becoming accredited or licensed so that people who walk in our door will know we're not a fake clinic, we're a real clinic. We don't offer bad information, we're offering good information. We have laws that we have to follow, rules that we have to follow, and we're adhering to those. I think it's very, very important that we do that. All right. Well, I would welcome any of you who would like to take a tour of our facility to please come by. We have a table out here. We love, love, love for people to come by. And I will show you my floor plans for my new clinic. And that's about it. We are 1 block south of the Ingram Park Mall, directly across the street from the Via Park and Ride transfer station. Kitty corner to Joe's Volcano. We're in the Tap Right Shopping Center.
Or any kind of that corner, so girls, feel comfortable, there's a sign.
Yes, there's a sign.
How do you get your referrals, and how many girls usually come a week?
Thank you. We see about 200 patients a month. Last year we saw almost 2,400 patients. In the last 3 years, we have rescued 1,605 babies from abortion. We're on target this year for about 600, I think. I don't know. But most of our girls, most of our patients will come from word of mouth. They do find us online. We do have an online presence. Because we're situated right across the street from the Via transfer station, our signage helps a lot. People will be at the bus station and they'll go, oh, and they'll walk across. We rarely take walk-ins because our clinic is relatively busy, and so we try to schedule as many appointments as possible. And adding now the well woman exams, those are going to be specific clinics that we're going to hold at specific times because I'm working with the UT Health Science Center. Medical students are going to be coming in, and they're going to be overseeing that.
Right.
So that is very, very cool. We are training our new doctors to be pro-life.
Yes.
Right.
So it's very, very important that we do that. So that's how we're starting out with this whole thing.
And how do you get your funding? I'm sure you get something.
Our funding comes from churches and individuals. And that's always a battle. It's always a battle because getting pastors of any denomination to stand up in their pulpit and to promote pro-life it's not a popular subject. It should be, but it's difficult. So we have an annual gala where most of our funding comes from. We do golf tournaments in the fall. We have a ladies' luncheon in the fall. And so that's pretty much where most of our funding comes from.
Is it okay to ask about how much you need monthly to keep the
I
business
can
going?
tell you that we have a budget of about $325,000 a year right now. Dr. Wilkinson came and did Bruce Wilkinson came and did one of our galas a few years back, and he estimated that a very good clinic who does a great job at managing their finances spends about $1,200 to save a baby. In my clinic, we do it for about $2 because we don't have that kind of funding. So we're really, really good at that. Really, really good. But we can always use more, and that's always the case. Yes, ma'am.
Charity, can you share with us about your record keeping, your stats that you all
Yes.
do? I think that's really
Be
important.
happy to. We used to, in the old days, we didn't keep track of anything. Now we keep track of everything. We know who comes in. We know when they come in. We know whether they're abortion-minded, carry-minded, abortion-vulnerable. We know whether their test is positive or negative. We know how many STI tests we do. We know how many ultrasounds we do. We know how many salvations we have. And I will just tell you that our board is well informed as to what goes on. Record keeping is vital now, because the only way we know that we're being successful is to know what we're doing. If you don't know where you are, it's really hard to know where you're going. And so we set goals every year because we have to run our nonprofit like a for-profit business. If we don't, then we don't know where we are. So we stick really closely to our budget. We monitor everything. My nurse manager, Becky, she can squeeze the last copper out of a penny. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And that's absolutely the truth. But you know, we watch our spending, but we do monitor everything very, very closely. That's how I know that in the last 3 years, we rescued 1,605 babies from abortion. We follow up with these women until they tell us to stop calling. Or they put in the phone.
Do you have any kind of a flyer you've designed, like let's say to give out to churches, and so that they're aware that you exist and they might want to follow?
We have brochures on our table, and you're welcome to take those. I have golf flyers out there if anybody's a golfer and they're interested in participating in our golf tournament in the fall. But yes, we have brochures that are available, and you're welcome to take those. And I am also available to come to churches or organizations and tell about our ministry, tell about the pro-life world, and let people know, because we've been the best kept secret for a really long time. We're not a secret anymore. We've been honored in Austin a couple of times. Our whole ministry, not just mine, but the whole movement has been honored in Austin a couple of times. And we're working with our mayor in town now. She's been to our clinic. She's very, very interested in setting up centers all over town that would be pro-life. So that's kind of an interesting take on the whole thing. But yes.
And when you have these golf tournaments, how do you design them? I mean, I have a friend of mine that's a professional golfer. He lives at the Dominion, and I don't know if y'all have ever seen Law on Taco Bell. I saw it yesterday at Bill Miller's and Frontier Enterprises, and he has the security system for those. He lives at the Dominion, and he likes golf. So I don't know if you've met him. His name is Lou Wood. That's where the term law came from, Lou Albert Wood. And he's a good friend of mine. I see him every week, so I can relay information to him. And obviously, he has the finances to where he might be able to help. So I don't know if he's ever been to one of your golf tournaments or what, or how he could find out about it.
We would be happy. I'd be happy to contact him. You can take some information and give it to him. He can contact me.
Okay.
We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for players. That's just another way for him to get his information out and for him to learn about us. So yes, I'm happy to help you with that.
Well, I'll do that.
I don't know if you want to go there, but is that an endorsement of Ivy Taylor, or?
No, I do not endorse Ivy Taylor as an organization, but I am encouraged that her administration is looking to do some very positive things in our city. I think she's getting a bad rap. And this is just charity talking, not life choices. But I think that she's gotten a bad rap over a lot of things. Knowing her and seeing her heart, I think is very important. And I think that, and I'll just say this, regardless of who you vote for, you need to get out and vote. It's very, very important that you exercise your right to vote. And the runoff race, the vote is on the 13th. Monday starts early voting. So you need to exercise your right and you need to get out there and vote. But I'm encouraged that she is wanting to promote a society of pro-life within our city, knowing that education is the key. Education is the key.
Charity, I wanted to ask, maybe I was misinformed. I was told that Ivy was the one that opened up that Planned Parenthood.
No, that is incorrect.
That is incorrect.
That is incorrect.
So she is pro-life?
She is pro-life. She has been on the board of an organization called Healthy Futures. And Healthy Futures is about educating young women, but they do promote contraception. What's not been told is that she resigned from that board over a year ago. But nobody's saying that. Nobody's telling her that. And like Ivy Taylor, so many people are misinformed about what we do. Okay, we have gotten the bad rap that we're baby lovers, we don't care about the moms, we don't care about the families, all we care about is saving the baby, and then we walk away. That is not true. So she came to my clinic, she spent 2 hours in my clinic learning about the things that we do. When she left, she was a whole new person. And it touched her heart so much that she wants to make sure that there are pro-life centers opened up all over town, where right now there's only 4 of us. Imagine if there were 20 of us. What could happen in our
Well,
town?
I think, I kind of disagree with you in one respect, is I think we need to get it out there to vote pro-life.
We do need to
It's
vote
so
pro-life.
very, very important.
We do
because
need to vote
If we don't change our
pro-life.
legislation, we're just
Unless-
going to be on the same treadmill.
What I should have said was,
Change.
you need to vote your biblical principles. I can't tell you who to vote for, but you should vote your biblical principles. So you need to do your homework and find out which candidate is going to govern based on your biblical morals.
Right, I know that.
Thank you, Jen.
All right,